So welcome back to the afternoon session. So the first one up is going to be actually by myself. I'm going to briefly talk about Add-on-Mart, but as you might have joined us on some of our webinars before and that were specifically about Add-on-Mart, I thought I'd switch things up a little bit today. Most of you are probably familiar with Add-on-Mart. So what I thought we do is we look at some of the behind the scenes of how we make Add-on-Mart work for us. And I feel why I thought I wanted to share this is because I feel it might even be applicable to some of you to maybe follow a sort of a marketplace strategy in some ways. So, all right, let's take a look. So the first one here, a bit of a refresher. What is it? Why do we have it? So what is it? It's basically a marketplace, obviously, like the name suggests. It's we see ourselves as sort of a connector, not only for PortaOne value-added services, but also we wanted to enable a place where you can monetize maybe some of your add-ons that you're willing to share with the global telco community. We wanted to have a place where we can more quickly give you solutions that you may need, driven by market demand. As you're aware, sort of 5 years ago, before we had Add-on-Mart, oftentimes when you needed new things, we had to resolve to basically make that happen in our core platform. What that meant is you then also not only had to wait for the development to finish for this particular piece of functionality, but then you also had to wait for your core platform to be actually upgraded. So that always meant a bit of a challenge, and it doesn't really make sense to force you to upgrade your core platform if all you really need is a new provisioning profile, or you need a new payment gateway, or you need to update your portal. So that never really made sense. So this is where marketplace and add-ons and decoupling this makes perfect sense. So this is also the reason why we have it, to give you sort of ways to try out in an agile fashion things to maybe help you with the stickiness in the local market, try out new things, what may work for you without major investments, without major commitments to help you succeed in the end. All right, so then let's have a look at how Add-on-Mart started and what it looks like today. And then maybe some of the lessons that we learned in doing this. So we probably started about, Roman, do you remember 3 years ago with Add-on-Mart? I don't know. Mike, you might even know. What, 3 years ago? 3 years ago. Yeah, there you go. So how it started was actually quite simple. We used Airtable as a repository for add-ons. Airtable was nice. It was a good choice because I was basically the one that sort of kept the repository for all the add-ons and partner solutions and so on that we had at the time. Yes, I know MySQL. Yes, I have Google Sheets, but both of them didn't really seem like a good solution. Google Sheet doesn't really have support for relational data. MySQL, well, it's not the most convenient to use for a business user. So Airtable seemed like a really good choice. It worked for us. It supports rich data, and we still actually use it. So we'll see in the second follow-up slide here that we're still using it. Then we were using, basically in the early stages of Add-on-Mart, we didn't really have any self-care or self-help portals where you could provision your own add-ons, nothing like that. We always envisioned we would have it, but the early stages was really just a listing on our website of which add-ons we have. And this is where Stacker helped us. So Stacker was a solution that you can use to quickly build, again, in a low-code, no-code fashion. You can use the data from Airtable with a few clicks, and you could build a fairly easy micro portal to display on any website. So this was at a time where we were also migrating our corporate website onto WordPress, and the guys were busy migrating all the other pages. So this was a very good solution for us to not get bogged down, and we could quickly update the Airtable, which would directly update and push the changes on the web page. So this is how it started, and this is what it looks like now. So we still have, let me just find my way around here myself. So we still have Airtable and Google Drive. Google Drive we just use for logos, things like that, to externally host the logos that we use. Now our guys built a very, well, let's not say complicated, but it is obviously, it's grown in its complexity just by naturally what the business requirements were. So now we have a management portal backend, we have a management portal front end that our guys use to manage the add-ons. We have a configuration portal front end and backend. Auto deployers, notification systems. So notifications we use, for instance, when somebody goes on Add-on-Mart to sign up for a new add-on, we obviously want to get notified. We have to get notified. The internal teams need to know, hey, this customer is interested in doing a POC for this add-on. So our teams can follow up with you to help you with the onboarding, to help you with the configuration of what might be needed. We also built in the contractual part, for which we use PandaDoc. So this is our e-signature contract or contracting service that we use. The guys built a included identification management and authorization system. So this basically makes sure that only those customers that signed up for a POC or that signed up for a subscription, production subscription, can actually use various modules. What else? There's an API gateway that manages all the requests. And most importantly, I do want to point out, you see it over here, because that's a point that I want to touch on quite quickly in the next one, cloud billing. So we actually use PortaBilling, a special internal instance of PortaBilling, to manage the subscriptions for all add-ons, for all subscriptions that we have. And we also use it for overages. So that's why we decided, if it was just subscriptions, maybe we wouldn't have used PortaBilling for it. But there are modules, for instance, PortaPhone, we have a fair use policy of 100 concurrent calls. So we need to charge, or we need to have ways to charge folks if they go over the fair use, as an example. Or we have Teams. Teams integration all works on a per user per month basis or per trunk per month basis. So we need to have a way to import the use from teammate technology and import that into PortaBilling and then charge people for it. So that's why we decided to do all of that in PortaBilling. I mean, we already have a billing solution, so it made perfect sense for us to do it that way. So I just wanted to share that. I find it amazing still looking back only 3 years ago and how far we've come. And we're still not quite there yet. We're still not quite finished. I think there's still a lot of things that we can do about the provisioning aspect. There's obviously still some third-party solutions, say for instance, Helios from our partners P2P. The provisioning doesn't yet work automatically, right? So it's always going to be a step-by-step process to see where kind of the bottlenecks are, and then improve upon and try to automate that. Because automation was always kind of one of the key concepts that we were trying to do with Add-on-Mart, and obviously self-help, something that was already mentioned in one of the previous sessions. We don't want you to necessarily have to feel like you have to reach out to us to just provision a POC for the Cloud PBX portal, which can now be done fully automatically. So of course, you're welcome to reach out to us. Don't feel like you cannot talk to an actual human. But if you prefer, you can do it automatically through Add-on-Mart portals that we have available. So some of the lessons we learned, and I felt one of them was actually quite important. Use your own products or services. You might learn a thing or two. You might get a chance to improve a thing or two. So there was definitely a few things when we started using portabilling for this specific service that we felt, hey, this doesn't quite work yet, or maybe we can do things a little more in a user-friendly way. So it gave us direct, not just the feedback from you guys, but also internally, it gave us a way to say, hey, this doesn't quite make sense. So I think there's a case to be made for you to use your own service. If you're selling Cloud PBX to the market, if you're selling Teams integration, use it internally, right? You might see a few instances why customers maybe call your help desk, and you see it firsthand. And then the second one, I think if we would have tried to design Add-on-Mart in the way what it looks like right now, I don't think we ever would have gotten it off the ground. So start small. It's fine to not automate things initially, but keep automation in mind in order to scale later on. So those are sort of the lessons I wanted to share. Any questions about these portions? About Add-on-Mart. We also have a Q&A, by the way, later, but just wanted to see if there's anything specific. No? Okay.
Klaus, can you tell what are our most popular add-ons so far?
Yes, I think by far Cloud PBX Portal, I think, is the most popular one. I think PortaOne and Teams integration will probably be quite follow that. We actually had built Add-on-Mart with the intentions of having a quicker way for auto provisioning profiles for Yearlings or Polycoms or whatever Fanvilles, whatever phones you're using. Somewhat surprisingly, that hasn't really been a big driver. So not sure why that is. Maybe folks use the vendor-specific provisioning portals, which is perfectly fine. But that was probably one surprising aspect to me. I thought there would be more uptake. Pardon me?
One of the reasons we didn't go with it is because it was per model. If it was Yearlings in general, it would have been a bit more attractive. Because if you had to pay for subscription per model,
which is it makes perfectly sense. I think that's good feedback. You're not the only one that sort of gave us that feedback, but we tried obviously doing that. It may not be listed on the web, but we did actually have an offer for basically bundle all existing Yearlings. And for some customers, I had even done deals where we said all current and potential future Yearling profiles are included in one price. Yeah, so that's definitely an option. Okay, well, let's keep it short and sweet.